Assalamu alaikum, I'm Aisha and you're watching Samaa News. Here are today's headlines. Opposition leader Maria Corina Machado has said that she is confident that the remnants of what she called Venezuela's criminal regime would eventually be dismantled and there would be an orderly transition to free elections, but cautioned that the road ahead would be difficult and complex. Machado branded Venezuela's new leader a communist and said Rodriguez is afraid of Trump and holds an unsustainable position as head of a system that is repressive but does not include the military. A Chinese reconnaissance drone has briefly flown over the Taiwan-controlled Pratas Islands at the top end of the South China Sea on Saturday, in what Taiwan's defense ministry called a provocative and irresponsible move. The ministry said the Chinese reconnaissance drone was detected around dawn on Saturday, approaching the Pratas Islands, and flew in its airspace for 8 minutes at an altitude outside the range of anti-aircraft weapons. The White House has announced some members of a so-called Board of Peace that is to supervise the temporary governance of Gaza, which has been under a fragile ceasefire since October. According to a plan the White House unveiled in October, the names include US Secretary of State Marco Rubio, President Donald Trump's Special Envoy Steve Witkoff, former British Prime Minister Tony Blair, and Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner. Trump is the chair of the board. The White House did not detail the responsibilities of each member of the founding executive board. Canada and China have struck an initial trade deal that will slash tariffs on electric vehicles and canola, as both nations promise to tear down trade barriers while forging new strategic ties during Prime Minister Mark Carney's visit. Carney said after talks with Chinese leaders, including President Xi Jinping, that Canada will initially allow in up to 49,000 Chinese electric vehicles at a tariff of 6.1% on most favoured nation terms. Ugandan police have denied allegations by opposition leader Bobi Wine's party that he has been arrested by soldiers as President Yoweri Museveni closed in on a landslide re-election. Wine's National Unity platform said an army helicopter landed in his compound in Kampala and forcibly took him away to an unknown destination. The National Police spokesperson told a televised news conference that Wine was at his home and free to move. Iran's deadly crackdown appears to have broadly quelled protests for now, as state media reported more arrests on Friday in the shadow of US threats to intervene if killing continues. After President Donald Trump's repeated threats of military action against Iran in support of protesters, fears of a US attack have retreated since Wednesday. US allies, including Saudi Arabia and Qatar, conducted intense diplomacy with Washington this week to prevent a US strike, warning of consequences for the wider region that would ultimately impact the United States. On the other hand, the US Energy Department is weighing a plan to swap heavy Venezuelan oil for US medium sour crude to refill the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. According to reports, the proposal would move Venezuelan crude to storage at Louisiana's offshore oil port, while US crude would go directly into reserve tanks, using an exchange mechanism the government has used before. That's all for now. For more updates, visit www.samaa.tv. Thank you for watching Samaa News.